Lord Vallance, you and I, when we were in government together, I as Minister and you as Chief Scientist, did a lot of work to push the last government to recognise the global race for science and technology. And you particularly set out the Own Access Collaborate framework. We set up the National Science and Technology Cabinet, equivalent of the NSC, got science and tech in the integrated review. So I wanted two questions. The first is really to invite you to comment on the last 12, 14, 15 months of what's going on in the new geopolitics we've seen and how that has changed our strategy and our thinking. We've seen President Trump, it's extraordinary, announce that he intends to annex Greenland, through DOGE, dismantle large parts of NASA, creating a huge opportunity for us to lure back top, often British scientists from NASA here. And we've seen President Trump's administration signal that they're no longer committed to clean energy in the way that they were. So in addition to all the war and the tensions in the South China Sea, where I'm a trade envoy. So I wanted to ask you just to reflect for us on the big picture of how rapidly this landscape is changing and whether we in government have changed any of the objectives. We'll get into some detail in a minute, but I wanted you to comment generally on this extraordinary landscape and what it means. And I, for one, welcome, by the way, your and Ian Chapman's commitment to the three buckets. It does seem to me we need to have a focus on growth, excellence, and strategic sovereign interest. But what does that mean in this new landscape?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. The landscape has changed enormously. And not only has it changed with the big players being in different places, but also there are many, many more countries that are enabled in science and technology now than ever have been. So if you go back 20 years, it was really a handful of countries that could perform at the very top. That's not true anymore, it's many more. So we need to recognise that. And we also need to recognise that we have not done as well as we could do in terms of turning that science into products and into scaled companies. So that has been a very big focus and a big change. And it leads to national security and resilience as well if you have a strong science base in the private sector. So I think what's changed, we've obviously gone back into Horizon, and I'm very pleased we have, because we need that strong link to Europe. We are continuing to forge strong relationships with the US, but it's not straightforward at the moment because it's tied up with a trade deal as well. And we've been careful about how we've engaged with China in areas that are mutually beneficial in science and technology. But the big change, I think, and I believe this is an important moment to be doing this, is to back those technologies which we think we absolutely need, and that is the Own Collaborate Access framework come to life. And just this week, we've announced a very big advanced commitment to fusion and a very big advanced commitment to quantum on top of the advanced commitment to AI that we've done in the compute infrastructure. I think those sorts of moves, which will favour the private sector coming in, are increasingly important.
Thank you. We're going to pick a couple of those up. Just on Own Access Collaborate, we've had number of witnesses here who've said, look, we get the framework, but we'd like some more detail on where we're in the own space, where we're in the access. What does it mean for us? Are there some areas where you could just, as examples, say, for example, in the last 12, 18 months, of course, we did get back into Horizon. I'm just very proud to have overseen that in the last government. I mean, in the new geopolitics, are there some areas where you've shifted your advice from, we were in the collaborate, we're now in the own, we've got to do that ourselves, or we've got to collaborate with somebody else?
Well, I think what we've just done in quantum is a clear indication we want to be in the own space on that. I mean, we will still collaborate and access, but we want to be in the own space. I think it's very clear we can't be in the completely own space in AI, so we're going to have to collaborate, and we're going to need to make sure we know which bits of that we must have in the UK. And I think in fusion, we're in an own space.
Right. I'll hand over, because